What's going on, guys? This is Mars Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Dark Souls PvP. Alright guys, we're back at it once again for a few clips of random invasions. Now, I enjoy random invasions more than anything. Right? I mean, they're spontaneous. You never know what you're going to get. There's always surprises, and that just really excites me, right? Because you don't know if you're going to be faced against a lone host or like Exhibit A, two Havel-suited hollows, right? You never know what you're going to run into, and that's what's exciting to me. You know, I know a lot of people, they like formal matches, they like to practice on the tactics, and that's cool, but for the most part, I get an absolute adrenaline rush with random invasions. May it be, you know, just going to any random world and invading, or the forest, one of my favorite places to invade. Now, why do I really make it a point to say that? Well, this is going to be, I'm still trying to decide, because actually I have an alternative version of fights to where you guys can see an actual comparison. But I don't know if I'm going to stop here, or I might do a two-part series that I'm going to title Duel Like a Duelist, but Invade Like an Invader. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say duel like a duelist, but invade like an invader? The thing is, you know, I get a lot of different types of comments, and I'm pretty sure any other uploader might, right? Especially if your following is relatively decent, right? Because I've heard other guys say that they receive comments as well. You know, Foxio, Mr. I Won't Forget, where people will say, "Oh, look how you play, you're trash, or this, and you're that." Well, I mean, I get the trash talk too, but you know, there's some comments that really stick out more than others. So this is going to be a video dedicated to you guys who make the following comments. The type that, especially during my random invasions or my forest hunting series, where people will say, all you do is backstab and parry. You know, you parry all the time and you backstab all the time. You know, as if to suggest there are no R1s, there's no R2s, there's no kicks, there's nothing, but only parries and backstabs. And you know, I have a two-part series titled Conflicting Values in Dark Souls PvP, where I basically explained the two different mentalities, right? The mentality of the duelist and the mentality of the invader. And I'm thinking that is, you know, a lot of these guys are either new and they have found themselves in a community wherein that community only plays according to some honor standard, so they think that's the way the whole game should be played. Or they're just a bunch of duelists that because that's all they do is duel, you know, they think random invasion should be played the same way. Or people who are just so hung up on the honor standard that they just simply cannot accept when people play other than their definition of what honorable gameplay is, right? And the reason why I say that is because, listen, I've said this on a number of occasions, but random invasions and set up formal matches have two different objectives. And this is, granted, this is just my opinion, so I'm not saying it like it's gospel, but at the end of the day, the objectives are different. Case in point, I just uploaded a volume 2 of my Protecting Our Homeland, and you know, I got a lot of comments who said, well, all you did was parry and all you did was backstab. Well, what else am I supposed to do? These are random invasions. The goal is to kill the host and his or her phantom at all costs, right? Not to play honorably, not to show up and ensure that I bow before and after the match, right? Not to sit there and ensure that all the enemies are gone before I engage. I'm an invader, and when I'm playing as an invader, that's how I play. And that's why I think the title to this perhaps two-part series is really appropriate, because you should duel like a duelist and invade like an invader. When you're dueling, at least when I'm dueling, in most cases, I'm trying to improve on my tactics, or I'm trying to kind of learn something. Case in point. And the funny thing about it is I never get these comments when I do my formal matchup videos, right? And actually that pretty much proves my point. The fact that I only hear complaints about my parries and backstabs during forest and other random invasion videos validates my point. That when I play like this, doing randoms, I play totally different than when I do during formal setup matches. I have several recent videos where basically I'm dueling, and I almost never backstab, and I almost never throw out parries, right? Because, well, actually, I'll just say, just recently, I've been on this kick about no shield and trying to use a wide variety of weapons, and because that is what I am concentrating on, I don't really focus on doing a lot of backstabs. Now, I'm not saying I won't, because if I get an opportunity, I will. But I also don't really concentrate on doing too many parries. Although I'm pretty sure if you guys are familiar with my channel, I'm very comfortable with doing parrying. But just recently, with me trying to get better at using multiple weapons and with no shield, I try not to use, parrying a lot, because I'm focusing on my evading, my switching off of my tactics, certain combos, and other types of combinations. So since that's what the focus is during my duels, right, I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm not trying to, demonstrate that I'm the biggest, best Dark Souls player ever, for which I'm not. I'm not trying to prove anything, right, because I've even heard some people that I've dueled against, they'll say something like, dude, I feel like you're taking it easy on me. And it's like, well, first off, I'm not trying to prove anything, right? When I'm trying to get better at a certain tactic, that's what I focus on. I don't care anything about, I'm on a Twitch stream, so let me make sure I show out. Or, I'm the brigade, I have a point to prove, so let me make sure I do whatever I can to win. That's like far from my mentality. And I think anyone who wants to get better needs to let go of that mentality, right? Because my purpose of duels, and this is mine, I know a lot of other people duel for plenty of different reasons, but when I am dueling, it's because I'm trying to get proficient on certain tactics, I'm trying to learn something, and I'm trying to get overall better, right? Random invasions is when I'm having fun, and when I apply a lot of the things that I've learned during duels. So for a lot of you new guys, or perhaps Honor Brigade people, who just can't accept the fact that people do not play like you guys need to understand, just like the title says, when you're dueling, you need to play like a duelist. But when you're invading, you need to play like an invader. In other words, when I'm an invader, I seize every single opportunity for which to help me kill the host and phantom. Every single opportunity. If I BS you, let's just say during a random invasion, and you get up and run to go heal, or you get up and run for any reason, I'm chasing you down, and if your back is still to me, I'm going to BS you a second time with no thought about it. And no one should think twice about it, even if you're in the Honor Brigade, because you're an invader. Your goal is not to say, well, let me let him turn around first because, it's dishonorable to BS more than once in one match. That's ridiculous, and as a matter of fact, you're limiting yourself. And you're basically, I would say you're limiting yourself to the amount of fun you can probably have, unless your definition of fun is a lot different than mine. I like the thrill of the chase. I like to hunt. I like the predatory aspect of being an invader. It's exciting, right? It gives me somewhat of an adrenaline rush, especially when I invade thinking I'm going to find myself under certain conditions, and I'm totally surprised by maybe a 2v1 or a 3v1. It's just really exciting. right? Or sometimes just being a prick to people, right? Like using my chameleon and coming out of nowhere and zapping people. Excuse me, and zapping people, just like right now. This guy, that guy thought he thought so hard that he was gonna tighten me up with that running two-handed R1, so I turned around and zapped him right in the face. That's exciting to me, right? Being a prick to people, killing them by any means necessary. You know, not showing up, waiting until all the enemies are killed, and bowing before and after every single match. That is boring, right? That's duels. And even during duels, I don't even go to that extent, right? I'll do a gesture to signify the start of the match. But, you know, bowing before and after, it has nothing to do with respect. It's just a lot of formalities, right? Even when I am dueling. And actually, I think I just might include a part 2 in this so you guys can see the difference. And actually, for a lot of you guys have been familiar with my channel for a long time, you guys know this already. And you guys may say, dude, I mean, I know this. You don't really have to explain it. And I know I don't have to explain it, but I really get so annoyed by a lot of these comments with people talking about the differences in the ways in which I duel and have formal setup matches. It is so annoying. Right, because my thing of it is, matter of fact, case in point, because I've been guilty of this myself. I remember the other day, I was watching Yuka's Legion's stream. Shout out to Yuka's Legion. And for anyone who knows Yuka's Legion, I mean, I'm not going to say that he tries hard, but I will say that he does everything possible to win. Case in point, he wasn't in the forest, right? He was in the township. This guy had a hornet ring, sunlight blade, and red tearstone ring, and I think he had like 6 or 9 Wrath of the Gods, and with the ring of the firstborn son, the one that boosts miracles. Right? So in other words, every possible boost that guy had when he was in the township. And initially when I was watching the stream, I'm like, holy camoli, do you really need all that for the township? Right? But then I had to have a reality check. I said, hold on, these aren't duels. I mean, granted, this guy's on stream, but these aren't duels. These are random invasions. Now, I'm pretty sure his opponents might not like the extents that he would use to engage, right? His opponents might not like it. I'm pretty sure some of his opponents who got, you know, Hornet BS with Sunlight Blade, I mean, Hornet Ring and the whole nine, I'm pretty sure that they were like, come on, dude, I mean, that's kind of extreme. And, you know, in some circles that may be extreme. But at the same time, like I said, but now I don't know how I received damage right there. But at the same time, like I said before, the guy wasn't dueling. He wasn't picking up red soapstone summon signs. Right? He was doing random invasions. And obviously, that's his definition of fun during random invasions. Now granted, during the fight club, during the tournament, during formal setup matches, he may reserve himself. As I reserve myself, and as do others reserve themselves, right? Because we understand that the setting is different, right? Because I remember, I think it was a different chat I was in, and I think there was a fight club going on, and you know, guys were in the stream like, dude, why are so many people salty against Sunlight Blade, right? And you know, I kind of just left a quick response. I'm like, well, it's not that they're salty against Sunlight Blade in and of itself. I think it's just the environment. In other words, in a fight club, a lot of people are playing amongst friends. They're trying to have fun, and they're really not trying to die after 1 or 2 licks from a buffed weapon. Right? So it's not that they frown necessarily upon the buff itself, but it's just the conditions didn't warrant those measures, in the opinion of many who were there. You understand? So, like I said before, this kind of goes again with my two-part video that I titled in the past called Conflicting Values Within Dark Souls PvP. You know, a lot of people face this. And actually, as a matter of fact, there was another guy who kind of touched up similar on this, and I have a video featuring him. This guy's name is Ferris DKS. So far, he's probably one of my favorite commentators, right? And the thing that I like about his channel, and actually he's relatively new, right? But despite being new, his content, his commentaries are just spot on. And I don't know if it's spot on because, you know, I agree with like the vast majority of things that he say, or what, but I just think his commentaries are spot on. And, you know, one of the main reasons why I like listening to commentaries is because, you know, sometimes as an uploader, you know, you get a lot of response from viewers, right? A lot of comments. And sometimes, you know, when you read these comments, it's kind of like, okay, am I the only one who have these experiences? Because these people talk like I'm the only one on this planet that experiences things that I do. And it was a video that I watched of his not too long ago, and he was basically saying the exact same way that I feel in a lot of cases, right? And it just felt good to hear somebody else say it, because, you know, there's a lot of people who upload YouTube videos. However, I'm inclined to believe that the commentators are the bravest, and they have to have the thickest of skin. And the reason why I say that is because when people hear your opinions, they always will have something to say. Now, if I just did, you know, gameplay, and you guys never heard my opinion, the most that you can do is attack my playstyle, for which, if it's similar to yours, you probably wouldn't have anything to say, right? But when you add your opinion, you're talking about your rationale for things. You're explaining things. You're basically putting yourself on a platform for people to basically throw tomatoes at you. Right? And I'm not saying anything wrong with throwing tomatoes, but what I'm saying is everyone has an opinion once they hear yours. So, with saying that, it's good to hear I love listening to other uploaders, right? Sunlight Blade, Mr. I Won't Forget. I mean, he does a lot of weapon features, but whenever he just does, you know, whenever he just go ahead and just do, you know, commentators about randomly anything, I like listening to them. And I'm not gonna say especially, but the same with good old Ferris DKS. And like I said before, I have a series of matches with him that I'm going to showcase, and hopefully you guys can go ahead and check out his channel. As a matter of fact, speaking of the devil, before I upload that one-part series featuring him and myself, I'll go ahead and put a link to his channel in the description box so you guys can check it out until I get that upload up, for which I'll probably have it up by Saturday, right, this Saturday. So that's pretty much it. As a matter of fact, I think I will do a two-part series, right? So this will be part one. You guys see how I play during random invasions. I do not reserve myself, right? Maybe in some occasions, but that's just conditional. But for the most part, I play, you know, to kill, because that's the goal. So this is pretty much it for the first part of the two-part series that I like to title Duel Like a Duelist, but Invade Like an Invader. Alright guys, see you in part 2. Martyrs Brigade.